Hello and welcome. I am the Restless Kaiser.
I'm Johnny B.
I am James Workshop.
And I'm Jason Proud.
But together we are
Modeling for Advantage. What a beautiful sound. Hey, it's that time. It's 9:30 on a Tuesday, UK time, and the four most handsome men available didn't appear on the show, so you got us instead. So, have a quick look in the comments. See who we got. We got Josh Wood here again. Good evening, my friend. We've got Nick from Team Clueless Games. Yay. Hello there. We've got Alid. Alid is in recovery mode at the moment because he just put an order in for a new army through our website. So you might be still, enduring the credit card shock. Some Commandant 73. Hello, sir. You'll be excited to know when John and I meet tomorrow, we're going to play some tanks. And we're going back to the desert, I think, aren't we, John?
That's the idea, yes.
The idea.
Back in the desert.
Howdy, looking forward to another good show. Help me finish out the work day.
What show's that?
Oh, mate. That's us, mate. Good show, right? And Johnny Houghton, good evening. We'll talk about what we're hobbying, and then Mr. Proud will introduce himself for those that don't already know. I'm setting the bar.
No, I won't.
All right, okay. I'm setting the bar extremely low tonight. I am going to put some flesh on some goals because I never get anything near what I'd intended to do done during the show. What about you, John?
I should be painting this Gallic chieftain on Warhorse, but instead I'm going to paint some commandos because, you want to. That's what I can do. Mr. Workshop, sir, what is on the table for you?
On the table for me is those orcs from last week. They're going to be blue now.
Oh.
Not skin-wise, like the green's going to be skin, but yeah. What are you up to this evening, Justin/Jason? How you doing, Jason?
Well, I've got a load of lizard men for a Warcry warband on my table, which I won't be painting tonight. And I've also got some British colonial infantry.
Ooh.
Game again. Nah, I can't be bothered. But instead, I'm probably just going to drink a coffee and have a chat.
Yeah, that's generally what it will turn into.
Absolutely.
But before we do a deep dive into all the wonderful topics we have, can you tell them, those there people at home, Mr. Jason, who you are, what you do, and where they can find you on Tinterwebs?
Well, I'm Jason. I have a channel called Battle Nights, where I do a lot of battle reports and painting diaries, little vlogs, things like that. It's mostly dedicated to me just having fun with the hobby, playing games. I play a ton of games. I paint a ton of miniatures, and I never get anything done.
This is good.
My channel is, like I said, Battle Nights. My Facebook page is Painting Nights. I've got a big fascination with knights, so anything I do has the word knight at the end. That's about it.
Sweet. Somebody just had an epic fail. I heard it.
It wasn't me.
I think that might have been Kaiser. That might have been Kaiser falling over.
Fail? No. No. I just realised I didn't have a light on where I could actually see what I was painting tonight.
Oh, right.
It was fine until I got up to that precise moment when I needed to do some painting. Right then, who else are we joined? Tony Halton says, Vietnam American troops while listening to Jefferson Airplane. Mate, one pill makes you larger and one pill makes you small. But the ones that mother gives you don't do anything at all. The ones that my mom gives me are awesome. Anyway, Bill, evening, Mike et al. That would be me. Bill was my housemate when I was young and beautiful. Gamers with Coffee. Ashley is here. So coming on to it. Looking forward to a 1 hour Lion Rampant chat. Well, you might.
we might touch Lion Rampant.
We will talk about Dragon Rampant. Absolutely. Saffron69 is here, one of our newest members, perhaps our newest member. Awesome. Too many board games for a wargamer. Absolutely. Trying to work out if the LAV is any good in Team Yankee. I don't know. I don't think it's any good in real life, so I doubt it, mate. But we'll see. Right. We are going to talk about a few things tonight. And as is increasingly common, I'm going to do that by way of illustration with a picture when I can find it, because I'm such a pro. I'm all ready for
the world.
These are only just a few of the board games, Bill. There's actually a lot more over there.
Bill is a board gamer. He's done a bit of wargaming with me when I was younger because, you know, I kind of bullied him into it. Right. So let us talk first about, let's get it out of the way. Let's talk about this. Jason,
yeah.
You know what you said you'd watch? What are we looking at here?
This is basically, if you heard of Disney Plus, this is the Warhammer Warhammer Plus. No, that's not what it's called. I can't actually remember what's it. What's the actual title?
It is Warhammer Plus.
Yeah. They're gonna have some sort of 40K and Age of Sigmar related shows, and you can subscribe to it. I think it's about £30 a year if you subscribe for the whole year. Otherwise, around about 3-4 quid a month. And you get to watch some shows based in the 40K universe, as well as any other universes they might do from their own IP, that is, of course.
Of course.
Naturally.
So this weekend, I don't know whether it was was it the Saturday, John? John buzzed me with an email saying, "Have you seen this?" So
yeah,
they
it randomly popped up. I think I was already a good few hours in before I realised it was even about. But yeah, I thought I'd like, mate, get a free viewing.
Yeah,
I watched it. It was pretty good, actually.
Yeah. So for those of us that did watch it, it was just I think it was only on for 24 hours. It was maybe 10 minutes long, 15
20 minutes long.
Was it 20 minutes long?
Yeah.
Well, John, you tell them what the story was and how it went, and then we'll get some opinions.
For those that haven't seen it, you can see. Ultimately, it's a story about Commissar Yarrick, but it's told from a snake bite nerve herder or whatever they're called.
Runt herd.
Runt herd. Nerve herder. And he's talking to two youths that are trying to eat his bestest crop. And he's like, mate, you can't get strong and hard by eating this little crop. You've got to get yourself a real enemy. And then he goes into the story of old Baelai and Gasgol and the whole thing. And what's the best bit about it is Yarrick is Scottish. And that is epic. That just added to the ferocity of him. And I think all he ever said was, "For the Emperor!" in a Scottish accent.
That dude did say that the Humies do say that a lot.
They said this. I think the Space Marines say that a lot. Yeah.
For the Emperor. Man, when they attached his claw, I thought he was gonna like fall over to the one side. You know, like it's so heavy.
Yes, it was a bit large, but yeah, it was a good 20-minute little romp from the Hammer and Bolter series thing, which I'm guessing is going to be like little shorts like that, which is awesome if it is.
That's nice. Yeah, that'd be cool. A little bit of background filling, because these are like little stories that you've heard across the years. It'd just be nice to fill them out with a bit of animation.
That's what I liked about it. Putting moving pictures to all those wonderful words that they've and those wonderful stories that they've come up with in the past. It was quite inspiring.
I've heard down the grapevine that is it starting off with 12 shows, and they're all going to be various different animation styles and types as well. So you know, if you don't like the animation of this one, there might be a different story with a different animation that you might like.
I'm massively. I was just going to say I'm on a bit of a downer with 40K at the moment. I'm sure most people are in this little chat here, but it made me want to dabble again. Sorry, Kaiser.
No, it made you reconnect with the story. Yeah. So, again, for those, so it's not without criticism. John, you're pretty gushing about it, and that's sincere, and that's great, and I enjoyed it too. I think some people felt that the animation style was a little bit lazy. It had a bit like a kind of Studio Ghibli. There was a lot of like static paintings with moving mouths and a little bit of animation. It wasn't, and even when there was action, there were very few sequences that were fully animated. It was more done sort of cartoon style. but I liked it nonetheless because it was a storytelling thing.
Yeah,
I felt it was somebody was narrating a comic book was what I felt I was watching, and indeed doing it through the lens of in teaching these two youthful orcs who were really stupid and couldn't even defeat a grot because they got caught. It kind of helped with that comic book feel, and I felt also some of the criticism that I've seen online. When the Space Marines arrived, there's very little animation. It's not very exciting. This isn't a Space Marine story, and this isn't a high octane story. This is a bit of lore about how Yarrick becomes so terrifying to the orcs.
Yep.
It's not about how terrifying Yarrick is, even. It's about how the orcs feel about this. Is their version of the story.
How they perceive him.
And the way that it came through the lens of this runt herd who Yarrick actually beats up in the story and then just walks away from. It's like, you're nobody kind of thing. It's like, that's where I connect with the story. I really like that. And if they're going to do 20-minute videos on those little bits of lore around some of those major characters, where we've got like a paragraph in a codex maybe, and it's just put a little bit of flesh on that. So I really enjoyed it. Yeah, much as John. And if they're going to do a few dozen of them, brilliant. What did you think, Jason?
I actually really liked it as well. I don't even play 40k anymore, and in fact, now that I think about it, I was just thinking about it. I don't actually play any Games Workshop game, but not for any particular reason. It's just it was one of those things, and I still enjoy all the lore from all their games. I mean, I'm probably one of the handful of people that actually liked that Space Marine movie when it came out a few years back.
Okay, so you're a man of no taste, so your opinion is
But it kind of hops on based on what you were saying. It's just, I just like seeing visual elements of the 40k lore and the old Warhammer lore and even now Age of Sigmar lore. I really enjoy looking into the backstory and the stories and stuff. Playing them out on the table isn't always quite as fun because I tend to find that it's more Hero Hammer than anything else. Than the army is a lot less worth than the hero, but in stories it's really cool.
Yeah. So Jason, as the only one in the room that missed out, have you? James,
yes.
As the one in the room that missed out, what do you think?
I just had a quick look at the preview of it. It's got kind of the new Adult Swim, I think, kind of style to it, well, like Metalocalypse or something, where it's that very stylized, lots of hard lines on basic color backgrounds and little movement thing going on, which is quite popular at the moment. It's a very American style, and it looks attractive enough. I think it might be an attempt to kind of try and draw people like John or Jason back into looking at anything Warhammer again, because that's a story from like the Apocalypse book in 2004 kind of thing. Like that's an old deep cut from a time when people were really into Warhammer, and it's a big, like, it's been in every codex since kind of story, and it's never been expanded on. So that's really it's a good choice for a preview episode if they want to get people interested from a few years ago.
That's old timers.
Yeah.
I mean, to go back to the comments, mate, we don't share the view of our viewers. Hammer and Bolter, it's so bad. Saffron 69, shower of shit. I will stream it on B-Flix. I don't know, is that another stream? Alas, poor Yarrick, indeed. Something Use UK, you're not selling it to me. It sounds shit, bro. I mean, I'm not trying to persuade you.
I'll watch it. I'll watch it, but I'll watch it with a tricorn hat, having just downloaded it from somewhere dodgy. I won't watch it by paying.
I am not trying to persuade anybody here to sign up to Warhammer Plus at all. When I heard, my gut reaction to Warhammer Plus, like, this is extremely ambitious what they're talking about. Many shows, some of which seem to have multi-million-dollar budgets. Like, okay, but if you want money off me every month, you're going to need to produce a hell of a lot of content for me to be wanting to pay every month.
Well,
in terms of TV content, right, Netflix isn't much more than this, and I get an awful lot more content than that. So I'm not trying to persuade you or tell you that it's value for money. I enjoyed listening to that story, but I wouldn't have paid a $5 for it.
Yeah.
You know,
my concern with it is if they stick everything out so that you can binge watch everything, I'll have watched everything in the first month. What the hell am I going to do for the other 11 months that I'm paying for? And if they bring it out once a week, you know, one episode a week for the next 12 months, I might get bored after 6 months.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that's being advertised on there at the moment is like we'll be releasing like modeling stuff and painting stuff constantly as well on the side. And you're advertising, you're trying to sell me on something that like literally we do on YouTube sometimes. Like what?
Yeah,
why?
I think I would say that you have to watch adverts, but I mean, if you're watching GW's TV, then you're definitely watching adverts, right? But yeah, I think a lot of it to actually fill any kind of schedule of providing something, and I suspect they will put something out each day, but 95% of it will be their team of in-house people telling you how to paint a Sister of Battle, or playing a battle report with some giggly young women that barely know how to play the game and things like that. I think there's going to be a lot of that as the money involved in producing that kind of media is enormous. And I know they're a big company, but they're not that big. They're not Warner Brothers, man.
Part of what they've done is buy out other people's independent projects as well.
But we've all seen those.
Yeah, because they're independent projects for free on YouTube.
Yeah,
well, they might not be on YouTube anymore ever since they were asked to take them down. But other than
well, actually, for fear that it's going to, and as part of this, of course, they've gone mental, haven't they? They've done a massive clampdown on all of that kind of stuff. So I actually last night or the night before, I watched Hell's Reach again because thinking that's going to disappear. It's still out there, but that's going to go because that's. And if you saw it first time round, he's actually done some more stuff on it, added some more sequences. I think they've even got Valrak playing the Thunderbird pilot. Is it not Thunderbird? Thunderhawk. You know, like a part that didn't have a voice, so they just added a few lines in. Maybe it's not Valrak, but it sounds a lot like him. And he's got quite a distinctive accent. Somebody in the chat may know more.
John's gonna subscribe just so he can get that Vindicator Assassin.
Well,
it's a £40 model.
I was going to say there's another point to look at this, which is the way I'm looking at it. I think I am going to subscribe, and I'm really off Warhammer at the moment. Like John said, I really don't like the direction they're taking their rules in 9th edition. So much more focused on competitive style play. But I looked at that Vindicator Assassin in that Sister's Egg Cup scenery that it's in. And thought, that model's worth the annual subscription.
Yeah.
I don't mean for resale. I mean, if I actually wanted that model, it would be £35.
Yeah.
It's a Games Workshop unique piece set in a diorama. It's going to cost that kind of money.
Well, we'll see. We'll see, won't we? It's not long now. In fact, isn't it released today?
Is it
no,
today?
Tomorrow. It's tomorrow. Today is not Wednesday. True fact.
Well, John, you tell me what it's like tomorrow, and then I'll decide if I'm going to get it or not.
Mate, I'm not signing up straight away.
The reason people sign up for it is the overpriced mini you can buy. So you get one for free and you can buy the other, I think is the plan. Sovereign News, I can't see it competing with Pornhub. No, I don't think it will. Warhammer Plus 2 pumps and a squirt. Quite possibly right. Sponsored by Pornhub here. Playing 40k with giggling young woman. You've not played with Jason. Mark. Hello, Mark. Says that it is Valrak. It sounded a lot like Valrak. So do you know, Mark, whether they added those lines in or they just gave him those lines because it's only a handful if they were added to the story? Right. Anyway, so that's enough talk about that. For those that are interested, and for anyone really that collects or plays 40k in the UK, Imperium is scheduled to release tomorrow. That's the newest version of this Partworks magazine. The first issue, I think, is £3, and it's got that Primaris Lieutenant that came with Indomitus, and that is a sweet model.
It is.
Any Space Marine army, you know, if you get yourself down to a newsagent, W.H. Smith or something tomorrow, and pick one. There's a Necron character in there as well, which some people will like. But that Lieutenant is a sweet, sweet model. It really is. That is worth £3 of anybody's money, even if you don't like Warhammer.
Is there any paint and brushes with it?
I don't think there's any paint or brushes this time. No. That
Boo.
model is awesome. In GW formula, to sign up in week 1 and wait 6 months for another chance, maybe. And ES Taylor says, "Howdy all, howdy." So anyway, GW talk over. We got Jason here, and Jason's got some pictures to show us, and we were also going to talk about fantasy games this week because
that's not what you said. We just said you're going to talk about our greatest fantasy.
You have checked these pictures, right?
We put our phone up for a reason, didn't we?
So, from the chat, what do you want to see first? Do you want to see Jason's recent paintings, or do you want to hear fantasy chat?
Is that to us or hopefully to the viewers?
To the chat. To the chat. Do you want Jason or fantasy?
Or
if you want Jason's fantasy, then
we're not having Jason's
you'll
fantasy.
find that on YouTube.
What kind of show is this?
Darker place. They have no preference at all. They don't give a monkey's what we talk about. Why don't I get the pictures up then?
Really?
Right. Oh, the chat's horrendously delayed. So if I get this up, can you?
Jason picks.
See that?
One says chat.
Whoops. Share. Come on, window. This one. Boom! Look at that.
Oh, mate. The whole foundation.
Yeah. So this is for my Rumble Slam team.
Yeah, nice.
These are the humans. I've modeled them on how I used to watch wrestling, you know, WWE and all that back in the 80s and 90s. And Bret the Hitman Hart. So this was my inspiration for this human team.
For the win.
What was that? Sorry, I missed that, Jason. I was looking at the chat. What's the Hart thing?
Well, there was a wrestling group in the 80s and 90s, basically a tag team group called the Hart Foundation. Had one of the wrestlers was Bret the Hitman Hart, Owen Hart, a guy called, I think he was called the Anvil or something like that. And they were they were black and pink was their outfits, and they were all, you know, too sexy for the screen, all that sort of shit. It was just a little bit of fun, and when I was looking at these miniatures, I wanted to do something interesting with them because they actually were quite nice, detailed miniatures. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to paint them in bright pink shorts. And then I was like, you know what, they remind me of their Heart Foundation. So I don't know if you can see it on these pictures, but I put little heart tattoos on their chest and on their tummies, on the shorts.
Oh, right on the belly button and the nipple.
Look at those lines, beautiful.
And this little halfling here is obviously from Ireland.
Okay.
Ginger one.
No, not the ginger one, the other one.
Subcommandante, make you showing your age there. Saturday morning wrestling with giant haystacks. Oh my days! One
of the worst big man wrestlers that ever existed. God, John.
Wrestling was different then. £3 a bargain. I can't remember. Is that in relation to what's it called? Imperial. It really is. It's the model's well worth that money, and I get nothing from that. But they will vanish, I think. But then eBay will be swamped with them for more money. Rumble Slam. Then, do you play Rumble Slam?
Yeah, it's fun. It's a good laugh. It's you know, like I like Blood. It's kind of like think Blood Bowl and those type of things where it's kind of like a little push your luck style game. You roll dice and you smash the shit out of each other. You're trying to throw your opponent's wrestlers out the ring. It's completely insane because some of the teams have the weirdest creatures. Like you can have minotaurs, ghosts, skeletons, ogres, whatever.
That sounds awesome.
Games like that always worry me that in order to allow for that kind of gameplay, they just have hideous mechanics.
No, this actually has a really good mechanic. One of the things I really like, there was this dungeon crawl game I played back in the day called Descent: Road to Legend.
Yeah.
And it had this really great dice mechanic where basically you have a baseline mechanic. So in this game, it has a similar one. So you have copper dice, which is your rubbish dice, and then silver dice, which is your better, and gold dice, which is your best. So when something hits you and you say you're hitting a halfling, they might only roll copper dice in defense. But if you hit the ogre, he has a copper and 2 silver or something like that. So it has a good fluctuation in skills just based on the dice. And then each wrestler has their own little skills and set moves they can do. You can get into the game really quickly because you have 5 wrestlers in the ring, and they have around about 5 action points depending on the model each. So you can get across the ring and dive off the ropes and smash into someone really quickly. But because of the dice fluctuations and stuff as well, you can have a goblin smack an ogre in the face and do a point of damage, but it's unlikely he's going to throw him out.
right. Okay. But they manage this complexity of it by each wrestler has got some special moves. It's not like everyone can do everything. It's like, this guy can also do this.
Yeah,
this guy can also do that. Right.
The big guys are really strong and have like a really hard time for little guys to deal with. But if you have 3 or 4 little guys jump one guy, they'll take him out eventually. You might see a few of them fly at the ring in the meantime.
This sounds awesome.
British Bulldog was the best ever wrestler. I don't know enough about that.
He was a pretty excellent wrestler. Wrestler.
Was he in? Because James, you're into the wrestling, aren't you?
I'm massively into wrestling. I love that contrast with people saying like wrestling's never been as good as it was in the 80s, and also the British Bulldog's the best wrestler ever. Because what the British Bulldog did is just what everyone does now. Wrestling has just steadily got more and more athletic over time.
I tell you, there's a picture coming up soon, Taylor, which you might find interesting.
All right, so
is it your goblin team?
Move on to the next. Boom!
Oosh!
So this is the opposite team that came in the starter box. These are the Orcs. I call them.
This guy in the middle is literally going boosh as well. He's punching himself.
I based these on the British Bulldogs.
On the British Bulldog, yeah.
All right. Okay.
So Davey Boy Smith, which was the British Bulldog, he actually came from England to America to go join the WWE. But before he came to America, he used to be in a tag team called the British Bulldogs.
Just that one, right?
Sorry. And always like we were talking about before in the Hammer and Bolter thing, the Orcs always have a British Cockney accent. So it made sense to me that the Orcs were British. And they look kind of bulldoggy with their big jaws and teeth sticking out and stuff. So that was my inspiration for this. So I painted some British flags on them and painted them in a bright green color scheme, and had a little bit of fun with that.
I've not got the other. They've all got Union flags on their bombs.
Yeah,
I think he had a photograph from behind, but I've not got it in this folder. They've all got them on their behinds. Very nice. All right, then. Next one. This looks like one of John's.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Wake up, John.
This is...
I recognise some of those bits.
Yeah. This is in the vein of fantasy, obviously, because it's going to be a topic tonight, a bit later on. And this is from... Because I've got a thing for it at the moment. Battle Masters. It's the big ogre that you get in it. It's very similar to the Hero Quest ogres. And yeah, I'm going to use this as a possibly either a greater war beast by itself in Dragon Rampant, or I've got 2 more coming from a recent eBay purchase. I might have them as as greater war beasts, but 3 of them instead of 1.
Alrighty. Next picture I've got here. There you go. John's picture sneaked its way in the middle.
That's that beautiful rear
got it all on their butts. I remember it's obviously it's not wrestling, it was boxing, but with work. It's actually Pogson. You've seen him on here, yeah? Pogson. He's like, oh yeah, I've got this mate. He's an amateur boxer, and he's got, but there's a fight night kind of thing. Do you want to go? He's got some tickets. So we go all the way across London to this like Irish society to watch these boxing games. We get there because Pogson's got no tickets. He's just got to try and blag his way in. So, oh yeah, Dave's boxing tonight or whatever. He said he'd sort us out. That he's not here yet. Oh God. Anyway, we watched this, and it's interesting because the first few guys fighting, I was like, I am no fighter, but I was watching the first couple of games and I could probably do at least that good. But obviously, they had the better fighters on as the evening progressed, and this guy was the one that was on. This mate was the guy that was on last. But the bit that stunned me, this was a really low budget affair. This was like a £10 a ticket or something.
Right.
This still had this 25-year-old girls absolutely slapped in makeup and hairspray, in tight black leotards, fishnet tights, and the Sunday Sport stamped on their arse. Like holding up the round cards and so forth. I'm like, God, is this still a part of this scene?
It's grim, isn't it?
This is, you know what I mean? Is like I feel like I've rolled back years.
I tell you what, now that you're talking about it, make me think about it. And we also talk about wrestling. There's a show on Netflix called Glow.
Oh, yeah.
I highly recommend that. It's short for Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. It's about female wrestling in the 80s. Oh man, it's so good. It's so good.
Based on a real group of wrestlers as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and they got some real wrestlers in there as well.
Yeah,
just sort of training the ladies and stuff like that. It's really good. I really enjoyed that series a lot.
Yeah.
I want to be a ring girl.
You want to be a ring girl? No, I don't. I think
we can make it happen.
John. That's to get you whacked.
You can do that on our battle reports, John. Every team turns.
You know, like the mini wargaming transitional videos. It's just John holding up a sign for whatever two teams are. Like round one.
Back to the sequined leotard. We've got to make it happen. Mark says the Ultimate Warrior. I assume he's talking about British Bulldog again.
There's a guy called the Ultimate Warrior.
Oi, days me leg. Oi, days me leg.
Oi, that's my leg.
Oi, that's my leg.
Oi, that's my leg is that was a board game by, was it that one? Yeah, there was quite a few of them. There's 4 troll games by Workshop back in the day, aimed at like 6-year-olds.
Was called Oi, that's my leg.
Yeah, and you get a tape. I don't know if that was actual reference to it or just an accident.
Evening Millers, Simon. Is that game on sale on Goblin Gaming? What Rumble Slam are we talking about?
It is.
I think this is it. TT Combat make Rumble Slam now?
They do.
It's
yeah.
still on sale on Goblin Gaming.
Oh, possibly. Yeah. What other Mr. Green dudes look like? Piccolo.
That's a Dragon Ball Z reference. It's just weird references from all over the place now.
All over the place. Yeah, Rumble Slam, a few bits, including the 2-player starter set. Maybe you have to teach us how to play it at some point. Teach Combat the makers, and is it their IP then, or did they buy it in from somewhere else?
No, that's a homemade game from them. They brought it up from scratch, designed in house and everything.
Right,
more than happy to play that one with you. I've been looking at it for ages.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel it's one of those games, a bit like so many others. Here's one of John's: is that I'd buy a team, I'd paint it, I'd care about it, but I'd hate the game.
Oh, boo.
So many games like right, Jay Bizzle. This is not what you're supposed to be painting at the moment. This is not what you need to be doing. So what have you been wasting your time on this week?
So whilst I've been looking at your Gallic Chieftain on horse, which is the one thing that I need to paint so we can do one of the next games.
We'll finish that. We can play the next SPQR game.
Wouldn't it be great if, whilst I'm thinking about the colours to put on that one, why don't I paint up some of my commandos? So yeah, I've added a Bren team. I've already got 10 painted from ages ago when I talked about men with kayaks, big balls, and woolly hats.
I bought you a kayak.
Videos. I have got the kayak. It is over there. So I need more. But yeah, it's just a Bren team to go into the rifle team. And I've also, I don't know, I think I did send a picture. I'm painting up one of the assault half sections as well. The ones with there they are.
The problem
so
is
that's
is that how they go down over the river?
Pictures come out in a random order when they get downloaded, and if I try and sort them in real time, everybody's sat here watching, waiting for something to happen. Anyone plan on going to Salute this year? I didn't think you could actually buy tickets. I'm going to look into that because I do want to go. I need to get some 15mm pigs.
They got rolled over from last year, I think.
Yeah, and I thought that was the only people that could go.
I really feel like that is the case. Like when you go on the Warlords, Warlords. Is it Warlords?
Yeah, South London Warlords. Yeah,
I actually think you can go because one of the guys from Warlord was on the Plastic Crack podcast last Monday, and he was saying tickets are available.
Really? Because you go on the website and it's like you try and click on the button to buy a ticket and it's just not there.
Didn't go anywhere.
I've just gone on the website and I can buy a ticket.
Maybe they're only doing tickets at the door or something.
No, I can do it online. I'm doing it right now. Maybe they've updated the website or something. Yeah.
Yes.
If instead of trying to click on the front page where it says buy your tickets here, you click on the left where it says Salute 2021 tickets, and it takes you to the online shop.
I mean, clicking on the button says buy your ticket here, it not working. That was kind of enough to put me off, to be honest.
Yeah. It's not a great sign of anything. But
if perseverance will get me further. Right, tell us about this cock.
Patrice.
This is, my. No, this is because the topic was about fantasy stuff, and I've got quite a few halfling armies, and cockatrices are synonymous with halfling armies, and I don't know, they like chicken.
Where does that come from? They like chicken. Okay,
sounds legit.
It's going to become a thing now. Come.
Well, I like chicken, and I got hairy feet, so.
Mate, I don't know what else we can say. I think that you have these as the war beasts in your army so that you can say cock repeatedly, like a 7-year-old. That is the reason.
And I have 2 of these. I can give one to my opponent as well and say, "Could you please move your cock?"
Yeah, 100%. And why not do that? You got to enjoy this, right? This is not your usual fodder, Jason.
No, this is actually because this is such a popular thing. I thought I might stick this in here. I do some commission painting for War Games Atlantic, and this is their Prussian set that are coming out sometime in the future. And obviously the Perrys have just brought out some, and then you've got Eagle Miniatures that have brought some, and Foundry have been advertising theirs. So this seems to be a period that's really hitting the straps at the moment. No rule set for it though, really.
I find it truly bizarre. So this is Franco-Prussian War, 1870 to 71. I don't get it. I don't. It's like somebody said, like, so which wars happened between Napoleon and the First World War that might be worth doing? Came up with a list of 0, and then looked again and thought, oh, balls, let's all go nuts for the Franco-Prussian War. This is Franco-Prussian War. Starts on the French border and ends 6 weeks later at the gates of Paris. This is a non-war. This is an entirely utterly one-sided war, and yet people are really, really getting into it.
Are we playing this? Which side was the one that won? I need to take some notes.
This is the war that founds Germany after the Prussian-German alliance defeats Napoleon III at Sedan. They proclaim the Second Empire, the Prussian king becomes the German emperor.
Michael, you're wandering off again.
Yeah, you asked me a question. You asked me like a history question. People love that. They come here for that, right? Let me tell you something you already know. Something wrong with that chicken. Catch up with these. They may be reselling some. I know I looked a few months ago, but it seems like if you can buy them now and have a look. I like fish. I like chicken. Meow mix. Heaven. I think you just wrote that so that I'd say it, didn't you? Need some Paris communards now. That is true. Acton contents under pressure. So, are you doing this for War Games Atlantic, or is this for a private individual?
No, this is for War Games Atlantic. They sent me the resin printouts, so the plastic sets haven't even come out yet.
Right. So these are the mock-ups.
Yeah. So these were the resin ones that I got. Basically, I got the.
Are you allowed to show them to us?
Sure. Why not?
I'm just curious. If these are the resin.
Well, the police haven't come yet, so.
Well, yeah.
Hey, who's you? Oh shit! There's not that many watching the show. All right, here we go. We're near the end now. We're near the end. What we got here then, Jason?
So these, as the topic was about fantasy games, one of the other things I like to do is take some of my historical stuff. So, for example, these gorillas are the link between my Numidians and my Zulus, which I combined into an African-themed fantasy army. So I add the fantasy elements like these gorillas and hyenas and things like that, just to make it a more cohesive force, you know. And it looks pretty cool. John's played against it. It looks all right.
I thought this was the historical element.
Yeah, with the Monkey Kings. I don't know. Is it you feel it? If it looks like it could be an army in an Indiana Jones movie, then it's going to work.
Yeah. These gorillas are 3D printed from Titan Forge miniatures. They're a little more Aztec-y than African.
Yeah,
it works.
But you know, once you add them into the African theme, it blends in pretty nicely.
Mate. Yeah. Now I think. Oh no, I think this is the last one of these before we move on to the other things to talk about. So that's just those Prussians again, isn't it?
It is.
Yes.
But
just without
so you can see. I'm always interested with newer miniatures. I can forgive older miniatures, but with newer miniatures, I look closely at the faces before I make a judgment. These look because there's no excuse for it now. You know, I think when people were like etching everything by hand, some of the faces I can forgive. But now, if it's been done on a computer, there's no excuse for it not in the collection.
What's interesting about doing a commission like this is that obviously the box set that it'll come out with comes with loads of options. And when they send it to you, they want you to use as many of the options as you can on the miniatures to show those options off. So once you've built up this 10, 12-man unit, it's not really a cohesive unit that you can use on the table, because it's just a mixture of, like, I've got like the musician with a sword in his hand and you know, stuff like that, just so you can see the various poses and like there's a mixture of foraging caps and those little plinth helmets and stuff like that. So,
yes. We've got a question. That's what's this?
Oh.
Please go on, Jason.
That is when the gorillas are finished war and they're in the torture mode.
Beaten to death with a wanger.
There used to be 4 gorillas. The 4th one suffered somewhat.
Fucking hell. Bludgeoned by the Black Mamba. That is horrific.
Did you just say bludgeoned by the Black Panther?
That'll do. That'll do.
The Black Mamba.
You had to go back there, didn't you? Right. Oh, mate, all the time has gone again. I got a couple of other pictures. There you go. Look at that.
There it is, a picture.
Yeah, that's the dude. I'm just doing their webbing now. So yeah, that's doing the old Kaiser Rakarth with the Athonian camo shade. Really nice linen, sort of, not linen. What am I trying to say?
Canvas.
Yeah,
it gives you a different canvas look whilst using paints you're really familiar with. Yeah.
Are these the Warlord ones or Perry ones?
These are the first gen Warlord Commando plastic ones. So essentially, it's the same British infantry kit, but they gave you
different
heads
sleeves
with berets and Bergens on the backs. So yeah, I mean, they're all right. I've got another 5 of these, which are not even started yet, and a boys AT and a 2-inch mortar.
Nice.
But yeah, it's just to mix it up. Essentially, it's exactly the same army again, right? But I can use these as veterans, and they've got green berets. Which
and everybody knows that commandos and paratroopers wear their berets in combat.
Yeah, in fact.
Put their helmets on. No. Right. Look at this. Mate.
Holy cow.
Who remembers this?
I never played Chromec.
Me neither.
But my brother did. And I bought a few miniatures. I bought some of the Marines and some of the SWAT. And Yeah, it was kind of cool.
So I can't remember. It came up in conversation a while back, and what I did was I went and had a look for it on eBay, and it was like, actually, you know, I was thinking I'd pick up this old game for a few quid, and you can, you know, but then on a broader internet search, Scotia actually have the license for this.
Yeah,
this game's still in production, mate. I wanna.
Grendel. Are we gonna do it? Are you gonna scratch that?
I owned this game as a kid with its acetate templates, different template for every weapon.
Awesome.
Big blobby alien tanks that look like snot tanks. And I really, really wanted to play it, and I never did. And I never owned more than like one tank that dropped on the floor and it was resin at one point. And, you know, one packet of 3 Marines. I wanted to play this game so badly. It had penal battalions and stuff in it, mate. I wanted it. So I might have a look.
Cyclos. They were called Cyclos, weren't they? They had a little weird on the head.
Yeah, I don't know whether that was like a wedlock type thing. You know,
I don't know what it was.
They're gonna blow up by the head. That's
yeah,
blow
I
up,
think
right?
that's what it was. Yeah,
something like that.
For it. I love it. They're really weird miniatures, though. They're odd proportions. They're like really gangly.
Yeah,
it's like me in miniature form.
And what about this?
The best thing in life is not to crush your enemies. It's not to sim driven for you. It's to buy a Nurgling plushie.
Yeah.
Fact.
To plush your enemies.
I had never heard the term plushie before today. I assume that is a certain style of soft toy that makes you feel less like an infant for wanting it.
Yeah.
This thing is 3 figures, isn't it? How expensive is this?
No,
I don't know.
Isn't it like $200 or something?
I hope
all the money is in the world.
I think it's a mental price.
I hope there's a decimal in there, like £2 or £20.
Absolutely.
No way.
It is pretty cool.
First word I hear when I get on here: penal. Not in the dick context, but we have been there already tonight.
But that wasn't our fault, man. That wasn't our fault.
That was Miller.
That was Miller's miniatures problem, and that's that. That's the pictures. 13 minutes to go. Let's talk about fantasy games then.
The plush is £14.99. It's coming out in October.
All right, it must be something else. It was $200, and I got mixed up with it. Good.
Good thing James is here.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
The guy can Google the answer. Google the answer.
The rest of us are too lazy.
Fantasy games. We need to play one.
But making a cuddly toy. Mate, people buy Cthulhu dolls and give them to their children. And I think Nurglings are nothing compared to Cthulhu dolls.
Nurglings are awesome and funny.
Bandai.
Yeah, there you go.
Subcommandante clarifying us with the dick comments. Sausages, absolutely, Dark Arnold.
Hey,
right, there are 3 fantasy games I am considering, and Jason, as a pro, is going to melt these down in 2 minutes. I am interested in playing, potentially, Dragon Rampant, Erewhon, or Oathmark. Dragon Rampant, I know you played that a lot on your channel. Even with this ginger prick here, you've had him play in a few games. What's the strength of Dragon Rampant as a game? Why would you play that?
Well, the things that I like about Dragon Rampant is that it's miniature agnostic, so I can let my own creativity go free in making my own warbands, and I can use things that I have lying around. One of the things I also like about exactly. I mean, I've played all sorts of factions in using Dragon Rampant. I've used halflings, I've used undead halflings, I've used humans, I've used my African Shoshani. I've used all sorts of different types of armies, and you can plug and fit any type of army in there. That being said, that is also, for me, a strength, but it could also be a weakness for someone else because there's no flavor to the unit. You have to inject that yourself.
Bring your own flavor.
Exactly.
This is heavy infantry. This is medium infantry. This is light cavalry. That kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly that. The mechanics is very simple. It's super easy to play. Everything has 12 dice attack. As soon as you get down to half strength, you have 6 dice attack. And but one of the things that are controversial for the game is obviously the order mechanism.
I
is
love
that
that order mechanism.
I actually really like the order mechanism. What I quite like about the game is that the order turns are based on you roll. If you want to do something, think of Blood Bowl. You know, like when you're trying to do something and you fail, you roll the double skull or whatever. Your turn ends. In this game, it has a similar sort of repertoire where if you want to say, for example, have knights move and they're reluctant to move, that ends your turn. And then the next person goes. So you could have situations where the same unit is activating multiple times in a row because you activate that unit, then you do something else, it fails, your opponent goes, he fails, and then you activate that first unit again, and you can have like a really disproportionate lines of battle and stuff like that. It's really dynamic, really fast, really quick, and easy to play.
And
but
very modern because it's got that battlefield friction. It's not all of the units don't move. In fact, many of the units don't move much of the
Exactly.
time.
And if you try and make units do things that they're not, like, for example, if you want archers to charge knights, they're in a hope in hell that they're going to do that. It's unlikely they're even going to shoot them. They're more often they're not just going to run
over. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a good game. Right.
So that's Dragon Rampant. And for anyone that's out here listening that's played Lion Rampant, it's very similar, but not identical. What would you say the principal difference is?
Mechanically, it's exactly the same. Mm-hmm. The only difference is obviously Dragon Rampant has a lot more fantasy elements. So, for example, you can add at the back of the book, they have like 2 or 3 pages of fantasy rules that you can add in. And but for most part, I mean, the stat lines are almost identical. In fact, just scanning off the top of my head, I actually think they are identical. It is literally the same rule set, same mechanics. There's just a couple of bits thing. Like, for example, in Lion Rampant, when your leaders come within 12 inches of each other, you can declare a challenge. That's not in Dragon Rampant.
Right. Okay.
But then there's magic spells and stuff like that in Dragon Rampant. That's not in Lion Rampant.
Mm-hmm. Right. But if you had a chariot or an elephant in Lion Rampant, it's going to feel a lot like an owl bear in Dragon Rampant.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And the knights are the same. They have the same abilities and stats and stuff like that as well. It's virtually the same game.
Right. Okay, cool. But you can much easier get away with claiming what you like it to be. And how,
I mean,
my Vikings are fighting your Sassanid Persians because it's a fantasy game.
Yeah, I've actually had this dilemma a couple of times where, like, for example, I have my French medieval army fighting my Zulu army, for example. Is that, you know, it's a fictional historical setting, but I play it in Dragon Rampant because it's fantastical, but it's exactly the same game, you know, mechanically wise.
Dragon Rampant will be the pick of the 3. Tony, I don't know whether James is insulted by that comment or not. It's hard to know. On his day, perhaps that's true. Next one I've got on my list is Error 1. I've got that on there because it's a Rick Priestley game. Because it's got, for me, what I see about the things that appeal to me, it's a Rick Priestley game, so I know it's going to be fairly familiar. It's got bolt action random activation, which I really like. As a way of mixing up. It feels the system you described, a string of bad luck is really, really painful, right? Like if I fail to activate several times in a row. In bolt action, you know you're gonna get a go. You don't know when it's coming, but you know you are gonna get a go. And you might get a double turn with your tank over me, but you're not gonna get 4 shots at my tank before I get to do something. There's got that mix. I actually, interestingly, I like the Mortal Gods one because that's like bolt action, but like a lot of Lardy games, it's got another system which ends the turn prematurely. So you're going to get some turns, but you don't know quite how many you're going to get.
And
I've actually seen people add a third choice dice into the bolt action system to represent that as well.
Yeah. I'd be interested in trying that, sticking a red dice in there and saying, look, when pulling the red dice, it's tiffin or whatever. I'd be interested in doing that. So, right, Error 1 then. And despite what I've just said, have you played it? What are your thoughts on Error 1?
Yeah, I've got a couple of battle reports on my channel for that as well. It's a really good system as well. It's a lot of fun. It plays very similar to bolt action. So if you're familiar with bolt action, you'll be familiar with this rule set. The flip side is obviously there's a couple of things that might not, like, for example, in bolt action, when you shoot at a unit, you get a suppression marker. Obviously, you know,
Yeah.
I can't remember. Is it called a suppression marker? I can't remember. Pin. Yeah, that's it. Pin. Yeah. You get that in Warlords of Erewhon as well, which is really weird. It's like, and it can actually affect how you do things as well. The game is also way more brutal than bolt action. I mean, you get like, you charge something, you do exchange of missiles if they have the option to, so spears or bowmen, you know, so things like that, can shoot before combat. Then you go into combat and beat the living shit out of each other.
Okay,
and then the unit that survived will then get countercharged by something else in the next year, and then they will die, and it's like a domino effect. Things just dissipate really quickly.
It's close combat for bolt action, but every turn, and it's everything.
And they make it brutal as well, because, like, for example, once you charge in, and if you haven't destroyed the enemy you were fighting that turn, just do it. Just fight again. You have an option to just go again.
That is assault. That is bolt action assault. Yeah. You just keep going until somebody's dead.
There's going to be a result here. Somebody keep going until someone loses. Right. Okay. That's Erewhon. I've got to say, I like what you just said. I like messy, but there's that thing that I talk about this, you know, maybe more often than anyone is interested to hear about, that kind of different aspects of us, so like the modeler and the collector and the gamer and the player. And I increasingly like my game time, my games to be gamey. I like my games to be dicey. I like them to be bloody. I like them to be less than 2 hours. And it's not that I don't love the grand and epic and complex style, sort of intellectually, but actually when I sit down with someone in an evening, I kind of want something that's quick and dirty increasingly, without being bad. You know, I don't want to play Ludo. I want some complexity. Where that line is, Tiddlywinks maybe, because that's a game of skill, right? So that was Erewhon, and then last of all, I think John's most interested in this is Oathmark, which is, I believe, Oathmark.
I'm not interested. What the hell was Oathmark?
My friggin' son trying to get my attention when he knows I'm on a thing.
All right, okay. So Oathmark is written by the guy who wrote Frostgrave, I think.
That's right.
Am I right there? And now Stargrave. But it's a very different type of game. And the thing that, when I was mentioning it, John, you were quite interested at the time, was that the way that you build your armies is traditional, like elves, orcs, goblins, whatever, but you're not restricted to a green skin army. You can have orcs.
That's why I liked it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're interested in that. That's kind of all I know about it, really. So, what tell us a little bit about Oathmark, if you don't mind.
Well, the difference between Oathmark and the other two games, first off, the first two games is what I call mass skirmish games. So they are roughly 60 to 80 model armies, and they in loose formations. Whereas Oathmark is a rank and flank game, where you're probably looking at roughly about 80 to 100 miniatures. But they are ranked up on movement trays and things like that. So that's already one difference. Oathmark also has a similar mechanic to Dragon Rampant, where you have to do order checks for your units to do stuff. But it's what I call order check light, because you roll 2 dice, and you can basically you have twice the chance of passing. And if you do fail, it doesn't end your turn or end your unit's turn. It's just they can't do anything aggressive. So for example, if a unit of combat troops, like infantry or something like that, if they fail their activation thing, they can make a basic move, but they can't attack, they can't march, they can't charge or anything like that. They can't do anything aggressive.
But they're not literally paralyzed. They're just
they can still butt shuffle around somewhere.
Butt shuffle. That sounds like something we'd be up for. All right, let's go. Go on. Sorry.
So the one thing I will also say is the Dragon Rampant is a D6 game. Oathmark is a D10 game, and I think Erewhon is a D8. If I remember, might be D10 as well. I can't remember now. One thing I've noticed playing the variants of dice is the bigger the dice, i.e. the more pips on the dice, the more random the rolls become.
Yeah.
It's just like when you play Oathmark,
his little face light up.
When you play Oathmark, it's just like, these things shoot, and they always miss because you're friggin' rolling so many D10s.
Yeah, absolutely. No, the bigger that's actually the problem I had with Frostgrave massively. It was just immensely swingy for a game where I have 2 serious models and 6 idiots. I can't be rolling a D20 here. It's too swingy.
I think Joseph McCulloch, the designer there, I do think he likes his randomness, because he tries to add a little bits of random elements to all his games, other than the dice. Like, for example, when you're rolling for initiative on Oathmark, if you roll a double, a random event happens, and if both players roll a double, then a catastrophic event happens. A dragon flies in and burns the field or some shit like that.
Wow.
Yeah. But that's only with extraordinary combination. Yeah. That's like rolling yeah, absolutely. Duncan FX said that Dragon Rampant would be my pick of the 3. Do like Dragon Rampant activation rules. It's quick, you don't feel left out. Have a couple of bad rolls. I have seen Johnny B's sad-looking face playing Lion Rampant with Jason, so I'm not sure I agree with that. So actually, watching them play Lion Rampant and hearing John whine is one of the things that puts me off it a little bit.
Isn't that just John in general?
I'm just a little bit.
Well, it happened in our most recent Dragon Rampant game. I fluffed the roll. Jason's like, yes! And then he fluffed the roll. And then I fluffed the roll. It was just like 4 attempts at activating nothing.
How about how that game ended? We were trying to roll a 7-up for like 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah. True.
Hamdan, what do you think of Kings of War? Kings of War was what we were gonna play. We didn't ever get round to it, so I kind of felt. I'm not saying it's because I'm not interested in the rules, but there clearly wasn't the motivation in the room to get some Kings of War done. I 3/4 finished an army, but all of these systems. So this is the advantage of all of these. All of these systems can use the same miniatures. My thinking, because we like to play a lot of skirmish games, and I'm not saying that these are the 3 systems that I want, but I'm definitely going to play. But as long as we're sharing the same basing conventions, which is 25mm rounds in Charlie Foxtrot movement trays, we can play a lot of different games that way.
That's definitely my ethos.
Share that. And the reason I thought Oathmark would work in terms of getting John's army on the table is he can have 20 skeletons, 15 goblins, and 6 dwarves, and he can do that.
Yeah.
And I was like, what have you got painted now? Yeah, I've got 6 of these. I got 4 of them. I got 12 of them, but they're on 40mm square bases. These ones are on. It's like, oh God, John.
It is going to be square bases, round bases, clear bases. Everything's going to be going on.
But if we move, a lot of modern games seem to use 25mm round. A lot of modern games go with that. So I think I'm increasingly looking at basing my 28mm miniatures on that.
This is why I provide the armies when John plays.
Yeah, man.
He just provides the boyish good looks.
Yeah.
And a nice, beautiful board. Mwah.
You got to contribute somehow, man.
Right?
You got to contribute somehow.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Make a shit coffee.
That's it.
We're at time. Where did we get to with us? I did get a coat of Bugman's Glow on all of these. Also, I said goals, but I've also got a Mortal Gods healer dude.
Oh, cool.
I'm gonna make
Sage?
No, I've got the dude. I've got the dude with the hat and the stick. Isn't he, dude? I was going to give him to you next time I see you.
Oh, awesome!
Because he's styling it. So I did enjoy Mortal Gods, and we haven't played it very much. I really want to go back to that.
I want to play that.
It's mad because it's a dice game like any others, but because the dice have got pictures on them, combat just feels more exciting. and that's stupid. I know that.
It's really dumb. And it's really nice to like flip a card and see what happens. Just really silly little things.
Like, so bad happens. What is it? Ooh.
Yeah.
Even though there's 20 cards, you know what's in those cards.
There's some fun little improvements and things like the 1-inch pushback and all that stuff. Like it just makes it feel good.
Do you know anything about the 1-inch pushback, John?
No.
No.
Sorry, officer.
Certainly not. That's where I got to. I got a coat of Bugman's on the flesh of 12 models. John, where'd you get up to?
So out of the 5 assault commandos that I've been
You've
painting,
shown big.
I've completed
Spartans.
6 Spartans. No, I haven't.
Actually,
I didn't. They're just on the. They're on the thing there. Slowly, I lost so much steam, but I do need to get that done. They're so close. I got the rank off done on my commandos, the first 5. So happy days. Anyway, interestingly.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, interestingly, for anyone that saw those, that was really difficult for John because obviously when he wanted Spartans to play Mortal Gods, and then he got the miniatures like these don't look like the guys in the movie. No, they've got armor. They're not oily and naked. They're wearing armor and have beards because that's what they actually look like.
I had my little check sheet and I was like, oily skin? No. Nappy? No.
Pervy Greek dude? No, none of these things. Oh, hang on, yeah, pervy Greek dudes. James, where'd you get up to, mate?
They went blue. Like some of them are a bit more blue now. That's it. I lost track like halfway through just chatting shit about plushies.
Are those the new crew boys?
Oh, plushies.
They're the new boys.
Yeah.
James, are those the new crew boys?
They are the new crew boys, yeah.
What did Carla paint tonight while you were talking?
I don't know, she's reading, but I finished my coffee.
Oh, nice. Right, so Jason, just remind, I'm sure these people already know, and if you are interested in Dragon Rampant in particular, you cover that quite a lot recently, haven't you?
Yeah, I do a large variety of games. Majority of them are fantasy based, and a lot of them are the Osprey Blue Book range. I quite like specializing in mass skirmish games, so sort of more up from the 6-7 models, more like 80 models, but rank and flank is also not bad. I don't mind that. I like games.
Games, as you can see behind him, a lot of games. You're part of an honoured crew of like former failed model shop owners, aren't you? There's a lot of them about. I tried to make money out of the hobby. It's hard. So many of them about. So I didn't mean that as an insult. Sorry.
No,
if it came across that way, I didn't mean it like that at all. Guys, next week we are going to have Frost and Fists. Going to come back. And I've been in touch with someone. Some of you will have come across already, but I came across a new YouTuber who's done some commentary about Warhammer and their policies. Young woman, Discourse Miniatures. Like a lot of channels, but she doesn't just read the news, which is a lot of channels do that. It's commentary.
Have an opinion?
It's opinion. It's strong opinion. Very high energy, and I think if you're interested in superheroes, she actually started with some Batman content, which didn't really take off because there isn't the audience for it. And recently she's done some GW commentary and just bang. Well worth a look. I think those of you that come here, you get that. I want opinionated content now. Even when I don't agree with it, I want to know someone's specific view. And I know not all of you liked hearing us being a little bit gushing about the Warhammer show that was on at the weekend. I thought it was good and I enjoyed it. But that isn't going to persuade me to buy their products in any way. But you're allowed to hate it, or even hate me for liking it.
Hey, Gary.
Check out Jason on Battle Nights over that. And if you're interested in getting more involved with Modeling for Advantage as a social group, we do have a Facebook group. It's very small. It's just really for the fans, where people share their work, talk about what they're up to. A bit like us guys. It's a bit small. All right, that was us. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.